Hello, everyone, and welcome to Healing Just for You. It is August 11th, 2026, and we're looking at symmetry so that we can get that connective tissue that's connected to the skin, really fill it up with, let's say, whatever collagen your body can bring in and be able to use the golden mean as well as the Fibonacci sequence to balance out the skin, get it more buoyant. We'll bring in tensegrity here as well. So, of course, I'm getting older as time goes by, more wrinkles, things going on. So, I really like to update this session every so often so that we are it's not just for looks, but it's also the youthfulness within the musculature. And one of the things I find when something goes wrong with the body or aging and all of the combinations. I mean, aging is basically, I think, dis-ease or living however we've been living, with pesticides, with let's say bad foods, and all of the other components that stress us. Like moving is a huge stressor that reduces longevity. Air travel reduces longevity. Divorce, well, and even these days, some people might not get divorced. You have breaking up, you have difficulties within a marriage, you have difficulties being single, going on and on and on, all the different things that reduce our longevity. So we want to get those consciousnesses. So if you have some consciousness that you can think of for yourself, this is the part where it's very hard to encompass the entire planet in whatever I'm looking at. So we can look at, let's say, the categories being moving, job loss, financial difficulty, travel, and then for you, whatever your personal illness, sorry, I forgot illness, that can reduce longevity as well. So if I look at my body mind before I had surgery to get new hips, it was a very different body, very different mind. But I still don't feel that buoyancy that, would have been from, let's say, a decade before that. So let's say about 15 years ago, I felt amazing. I was jogging, I was running, lots of good stuff going on. I was in really good condition, felt really good, traveled a lot, and then boom, the body just went, I've had enough of you, woman. So think about those things for yourself that, might be a little bit too much, a lot of things that would reduce longevity. Now, remember, there are stresses that are good. There are some stresses that are healthy for us. I'm looking at the ones that are not healthy. Now, the next thing that we want to do is really feel into, just scan your body. It's really interesting. I would have thought when I'm scanning my body, so don't just go to the area you think you have a problem with. Allow the scan to tell you where to go. So I'm kind of going to this area, whereas I thought I was going to go into the hip area. So just scan. So just go down the front, maybe down the back at the same time if you're capable of it. If you're not capable of it, go down the front and down the back and notice where your attention is drawn. Okay. And then breathe. And what we're going to do is I'm visualizing the symmetry using Fibonacci and the golden mean ratio so that your body mind can pick it up and your brain can take it where it needs to. What'll be supportive is if you're focusing on that area, just like I am right now. I'm focusing on a couple of areas. And breathe. Now just notice how your body feels. What has changed? I already noticed a shift right there. There's something going on that's changing. I've noticed some areas, hey, contracted up. Some areas, feel more relaxed. I don't necessarily feel better. I don't necessarily feel worse, but I do feel things shifting and changing. So now we're going to move into the consciousness of the mitochondria, where we're looking at what's coming up is worry and guilt. So worry and guilt tend to use up a lot of energy. It's going to elicit more and more adrenal cortisol. As you elicit more and more adrenal cortisol, all the energy from your mitochondria ends up being used by worry and guilt, right? I feel guilty. I feel guilty. You know, the other one that's coming up, I'm kind of surprised by this. It's cool. Regrets, right? So all the regrets, that's using a lot of energy. Yeah. Fascinating. So we're just going to start really pulling that out of the system. So you might feel it. I'm feeling it down here on my arms. Doesn't matter. I'm just pointing these things out because you might go, weird place to be feeling it. Yeah, anywhere it could be weird. And we're going to dump guilt to individuation and bring that worry out. It's called body genics, just moving it out. So you have to use your breath so that'll move. So we'll start breathing. And breathe again. Take your time. You don't have to breathe at my pace. Let's do a little oming. So someone mentioned gratitude. I think this is a really good space to om, aum.om, aum, and really feel into gratitude for what your body, mind does for you. Because we tend to experience lack. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not communicating properly. Instead, if we're grateful for what we have, that increases what we're grateful for, and we stop focusing so much on what we don't have. Um, uh, oh, you can keep oming. I'm just visualizing the symmetry of the mitochondria as well. So just coming up as, being a little bit deformed from worry, from guilt, from regret. And we want to get it, the symmetry of each part. We don't want the whole mitochondria to be necessarily symmetrical. It is really the symmetry of each of the areas that are required. So it's not like we're making everything perfectly symmetrical. We're making each area the perfect symmetry that is required in that area, not the entirety. When I do symmetry, sometimes people say to me, well, it's not really the symmetrical face or the perfect symmetry that is the most beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the symmetry necessarily that we're going through is to make everything perfectly symmetrical. We're going for what your brain decides is the most symmetrical aspect within the area. So if I start with the eye and I'm looking at the Fibonacci sequence, golden mean and tensegrity, it's going to keep building up. I'm not necessarily going, let's make this side symmetrical with that side. No, that's not what's going on. It's within that there will be symmetry to the golden mean for each part, but it doesn't mean it's going to correct it unless that's what the body mind requires. Okay. And the bird is very, very active. Yes. He's had a little experience where I have a dog here and he's quite jealous. So, okay. Is that okay? Can we continue? Yes, I know you want it to be on. Yes. All right. And you're very loud. I'm just searching through the mitochondria. Here's hydration. Someone mentioned hydration. It's coming up as needed through the mitochondria. And there was Also, a focus on communication. I'm going to bring that into what we think we lack. So, gratitude for what we do have. So, your ability to communicate doesn't have enough gratitude in it. So, the part where it says, I can't communicate gets stronger and stronger. So, we're bringing that gratitude so that you have a nice little symmetrical balance between, hey, I know what I'm not able to communicate. I know what I'm able to communicate. And maybe I can improve that part that I cannot do later. But first, I need to really see what I am able to do, what I am able to experience, how my life works out. So if I look at the people in this group, they have wonderful families, they have wonderful children, they have wonderful friends. And no matter who you call your family, you have these wonderful people in your life. So you know that that communication is there, right? So it's not only the flaws that tell us who we are. And sometimes it's needed. I'm not going like all out positive. Sometimes we do need to definitely look at where we are flawed. Can't walk around and say, well, I've got this wonderful family, so you're wrong. No, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is allowing the ability of this body mind to raise the gratitude for what is. And what is it, honey? You're very, very noisy today. Very, very noisy. And in doing so, we'll be able to improve whatever needs to be improved. But if we're starting from a place of I'm not doing it properly, you're just going to amplify that. And I hope that's clear. So one is we're balancing it. Two, this is not about you're the greatest. No, it's about these are really good things. There's always room for improvement in certain areas of life, but most of the time, uh, with a lot of us, I can't say, I'm saying most of the time, but there's some people who really think they're the best at everything. And they might not necessarily be the best at everything. So I'm grateful for having those people in my life too. They show me where I think too many negative things about myself. So I guess because it's me and the group that I know, we tend to think negatively. So this is mostly for the people who are more negative. Those of you who are positive, this isn't going to work so well for you. But it's to be grateful for the people in your life who actually stand up to you and look at you and go, maybe you don't have it as right as you think you do. Sometimes we need to be humbled and humiliated. So there you go. That was more communication than I thought would be necessary, but you can see how that would affect all of us in many different ways. All right, let me just scan now again. I'm looking at a little bit the immune system because I want to do rejuvenation. And that's really where all this started, where I really wanted to look at us getting younger. So that's going to be the mitochondria, that's going to be symmetry. It's also exercise and eating right. When you feel better in life, you're going to exercise and eat right as well. But you also need to push yourself to exercise and eat right so you do feel better. So there's a little bit of a catch 22 there, but knowing when and where the most important thing is, even if you can only lift your arm, right? Even if you can only stretch a couple of times, it's super important. Now, I'm just kind of looking at, I think what we need to do is something I haven't done in a really long time. There's the thymus gland is here. Oh, a bird just hit the window. The thymus gland right there, kind of feels like a lumpy area. The thymus gland, according to Western medicine, goes defunct when we're about 12 or 13. But in energy medicine, and I think now some of Western medicine is saying, no, it's not supposed to. So one of the exercises I did for many, many years, which I should probably pick up again, is you tap that area. So you just make a light fist, not really strong, a nice light fist, and just hit it and feel the vibration. Just feel that. Now you're supposed to do it about 20 times. Don't like if you've got a pacemaker or anything going on with your heart, you want to be careful. Your heart's over there. It's not quite here. just tap your chest, let it vibrate. I'm going to do 7 because I do love that number, and just feel that vibration. Oh, maybe I'm going to do 10. I'm at 7, 8. I can already feel the shoulders loosening. Interesting. All right. So what I want to do now is run a program there. So your brain is going to take what it needs. It's called a Seedry program. That program is going to help move belief systems in the collective, especially for Westerners, where we believe that gland is defunct. It's not working. We want it to work. We want that consciousness out of there so that it does contribute to our immune system, but also deals with rejuvenating, right? We want to go backwards in time. We don't want to go forward, right? There's a lot of evidence now that aging is not necessary. We do not need to age. And it's kind of what I always look at aging as, no, I don't have to age, but wear and tear on the system. And if I don't change my habits, like if I worked a lot in my life, I, stressed a lot. And now I look at all that and go, no, you don't need to do all of that. You can work smart, you can work well, and you can also not be so stressed. That's a practice on its own. The moment you see yourself stressing, you say stop and you sit down because it's just a waste of your breath. It's a waste of your energy, waste of your mitochondria, right? So the best thing is you just stop and relax the minute you're stressing. Stop. If you've got a partner in your life, somebody you live with, you can ask them to tell you to cool it, cool it. I love it when my partner does that. I start to get a little hyped up. He asks me a question. I get it. He's like, cool it. You don't need to be doing this. And I'm like, oh, right. And then I calm down right away. Right away. So it's great if you got someone you're living with that can do that, or a friend that you know that can do that for you. Just cool it. Just relax. And take your time. And you see, that whole stress is just something in your head. Like, I got to be here. I got to do this. I got to do that. I was going through many, many things this morning. And I was like, whoa, I'm not going to get everything done. And I went, so what? So what? It doesn't matter. Just do the thing that is there. Why age yourself? Why make yourself ill? Why use your energy to do something that in the end you'll see it does not matter? Doesn't matter. That of course there are priorities. I got the thing done that was the priority. I didn't get all the little things done. They're not necessary. I came on here without having my hair properly done, and I did it with the group, and it's not even proper. So what? Doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe a million people can go, who's that old lady on there? Okay, fine. Good for you. Have a good time. As my grandmother used to say, where I am now, where you are, I have been. Where I am now, you will be. So, take some of the advice for the people that are, passed through these things. It's the only advice I give is stop stressing. All right. So, with all of that today, I hope you're feeling much better. And please, please practice gratitude. Just, even putting an alarm clock on and every hour, just looking around going, wow, we're stressed in all the things that we do. And then I look around and go, yeah, but I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful that I have this little dog. Yeah, she's driving me a little crazy. The bird's driving me, but I have this little bird that cuddles with me, and this dog who comes in. Yeah, it's not so nice when it licks me, but I get to play with her fur, and then she licks with me and I tell her not to. And that's it. So, that's life. It goes back and forth between all these different things. And who cares? That's a big question. I think it's Nisargadatta Maharaj, right? Who's got the book that says, who cares? I think that's the right one. Now I need to look it up. Well, you guys can look it up. Ask AI who wrote the book, who cares? Maybe it was Ramesh Balsekar. Who cares? And once you figure out who cares, you start to realize it is your ego that cares. That's all, or some habitual aspect of you that cares when it doesn't really matter. Yeah. All right. Have a great week and meditate a little bit on stuff that really doesn't matter. Ciao, everyone. Bye.